Republican Congressman Michael McCaul, the House Homeland Security Committee chairman, who wishes we had the same kind of zeal for this sort of thing in this country. Chairman, very good to have you.
Neil, thanks for having me.
We should stress, sir, that obviously the Brits are saying this is unique to this Manchester probe and not intelligence in general. Still, there was frustration on the British press part, the British community intelligence part, that it got out at all. What is going on here? Because this is very familiar.
Well, you know, we share a lot of intelligence with the Brits, you know, part of the Five Eyes, they call it. So we got MI5, MI6. That is very closely held intelligence. I think with respect to Manchester, the biggest concern from the Brits, and I talked to him yesterday, was the leak about the name of the suicide bomber himself. And why is that so damaging? Because they know who was around him. This is not a lone wolf scenario where we have a guy inspired over the internet who carries out a lone wolf attack with a knife. This was a very sophisticated attack, explosive device. As we're seeing more and more, a larger network and a cell around this plot that has ties to Libya and foreign fighters possibly out of Libya. So I think the concern from the Brit standpoint is once you released his name, then the people around him in his network could do one of two things: either quickly carry out the additional plots, because remember, ISIS and Al-Qaeda like to carry out multiple attacks simultaneously, so you have the threat of another bomb going off that you can't stop, or this network fleeing or going underground where they can't find him. Fortunately, they arrested 4 of the suspects connected to the bomber, but the question remains, how many other suspects linked to this network are at large?
I don't know what's going on with these leaks, but they do seem particularly aplenty under this president. And I'm wondering if it goes back to the campaign where he would rail against them and there was just bad blood here, but it's past the point of just mere concern here because they do keep happening. And I'm wondering whether this spells something ominous to you. I mean, if our intelligence community is freely finding a way to get this stuff out, who do you think's doing it?
You know, I don't think I've seen a presidency with so many internal leaks inside the camp. You're loyal to the president when he's engaged in very confidential conversations or classified conversations. The idea that some staffer would then relay this to other intelligence officials who then leak it to the press.
But they are, right, Chairman? They are, and it keeps happening. I'm wondering, I mean, that doesn't seem to be the concern of those on Capitol Hill, particularly Democrats, for whom it was a very big concern during the campaign, but not so much now. I understand politics, but this cuts to the core of intelligence communities running rogue here, and who knows who else.
When you question the motivation, why are they leaking this very sensitive information? And then, quite frankly, I think this is something that the special counsel should be looking at in terms of leaks as they may have related to the Russian probe. And we know the unmasking also was a huge issue of personal violations of people being unmasked and then possibly used politically throughout the intelligence community. These are big, you know, no-nos within the IC. This is not supposed to happen, and particularly those so close to the president, to reveal these very private, intimate conversations. And it overshadows, unfortunately, I think, a lot of the good work he's doing. I saw a speech in Saudi was tremendous. I haven't seen a president do that, appealing to the Muslim community to stand up, clean up their own backyard, their own religion.
No, you're right on all the above, and I think at least be given a fair shot, whether you like him or not. He is the President of the United States, so on foreign soil in particular, we should recognize that. But you know what worries me, Congressman, maybe you can help me with this. The leaks that I have seen rarely, if ever, say anything favorable about Donald Trump, which again gets me back to my first, you know, argument here that I think a lot of this is meant to harm the president. But wouldn't that be able to help those who want to investigate these leaks, if we have a real interest in it, be able to isolate who would want to harm the president? Who's out to do that?
Well, and it absolutely is damaging the president. It's taking him off message. It's a distraction from the good things that he has accomplished. And, again, this overseas trip bringing the three major religions together, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, what he's trying to accomplish in counterterrorism, which we saw what happened in Manchester. And yet all we seem to be talking about are these leaks from within. It's an enemy within his own camp. And I think it's very disloyal, does a great disservice to the president, and really detracts the American people from the good work that he's been doing on this overseas trip.
What I wonder about going forward then is on high security or sensitive issues, God forbid we should be going to war or expanding our battle against ISIS in places like Syria, beyond the Tomahawk missile attack or what we've done. Word is going to get out on that, and it's going to be an intelligence failure which will pre-doom whatever operation we are taking to go after a president, even if it has bad ramifications on our country. I can understand the media glomming onto that. They don't really like being called fake news media, whatever. But now they're taking it as another level, accepting hook, line, and sinker, anything that comes out, regardless of who's giving them that. Knowing well that that's compromising not only a presidency, and presidents come and go, to your point, but a country.
It weakens the institution of the presidency. And I think if intelligence is leaked, that needs to be investigated and prosecuted. And I think, I hearken back to when I was talking about the last campaign and what Mrs. Clinton did, taking her personal device into foreign adversary nations, and special access programs were on there. Those are covert, the most highly sensitive secrets within the federal government that were compromised. If we have intelligence officials doing this for political purposes to attack the presidency, that is equally as disturbing and unlawful.
Yeah, no, you're right about all of the above. Chairman, thank you very, very much. And